They paired a ruthless billionaire woman with a single dad as a joke, then everything changed. Daniel Carter had never imagined that one invitation could change his entire life. He was a single father living in Columbus, Ohio, raising his 8-year-old daughter, Lily. His life was simple. He worked as a civil engineer during the day, helped Lily with homework at night, and spent whatever free time he had making sure his daughter felt loved. 3 years earlier, Lily's mother had passed away. Since then, Daniel had learned how to do everything. Cook, clean, pack school lunches, help with science projects, and somehow, still be the father Lily needed. He didn't have much money, but he had never complained. Then one Thursday morning, an invitation arrived at his house. It was for a prestigious charity gala in Chicago. Daniel almost threw it away. But then he saw the name of the host. Victoria Esterling. Everyone knew Victoria. She was a 34-year-old billionaire and CEO of Sterling Global Holdings. She had built a business empire worth billions. Business magazines called her brilliant. Her competitors called her ruthless. Her employees had another name for her. The Ice Queen. Victoria didn't date. She didn't trust easily. And she certainly didn't spend time with ordinary people. Daniel almost decided not to attend. Then Lily saw the invitation. "Dad, can we go?" Daniel smiled. "Why?" "Because I want to wear my sparkly dress." Daniel laughed. "Okay. We are going." Neither of them knew that the gala would change their lives. The ballroom was filled with wealthy investors, celebrities, CEOs, and politicians. Then Victoria Sterling walked in. The room went quiet. She wore a black designer gown and carried herself like someone who owned the entire building. Her assistant, Marcus, approached her. "Victoria, the charity committee has assigned you a dinner partner." She stopped. "A what?" "A dinner partner." "I didn't agree to that." "It's part of the charity event."
Victoria Said.
"Who is it?" Marcus checked his tablet. "Daniel Carter. He's an engineer from Ohio."
Victoria Fronev.
"Is he important?" Marcus smiled. "Apparently, he's a single father." Victoria stared at him. "You're joking."
"No."
Across the ballroom, Daniel was standing beside Lily. When Victoria approached, Lily looked at her and whispered, "Dad, that woman looks scary." Daniel tried not to laugh. "Be polite." Victoria stopped in front of them. "Mr. Carter." "Daniel Carter." They shook hands. "And this must be Lily." Lily smiled.
Victoria Navid.
"Hello." The three sat together for dinner. At first, Victoria barely spoke. Daniel talked about the housing project his company was helping build. Lily talked about dinosaurs.
Victoria listened.
Then Lily suddenly asked, "Are you going to marry my dad?" Daniel nearly choked on his water. Victoria stared at the little girl.
"No."
Lily shrugged. "Okay." Daniel apologized. "Sorry about that." Victoria smiled slightly. "She's honest." For the first time that evening, Victoria laughed. Later that night, one of the wealthy investors named Richard Hale approached their table. He looked at Daniel and laughed. "So this is your dinner partner, Victoria."
Victoria Fronev.
Richard continued. "The billionaire and the middle-class single dad. That's a pretty funny pairing." Several people laughed. Daniel said nothing. Richard continued. "I suppose the charity committee wanted to see what happens when you put two completely different worlds together."
Victoria stood.
"That's enough." Richard smiled. "Relax. It's just a joke." Daniel looked at him. Maybe jokes aren't funny when they're designed to embarrass someone. Richard's smile disappeared. Victoria looked at Daniel. Then she said quietly, "Let's go." Outside the ballroom, Victoria thanked him. "You didn't have to say anything." Daniel shrugged. "I don't like watching people get humiliated." Victoria looked at him. "You're different." Daniel smiled. That's probably why you don't like me. She laughed. And for the first time in years, Victoria felt comfortable around someone. 2 weeks later, Victoria unexpectedly visited Columbus. She claimed it was because she wanted to inspect the housing project. But Daniel suspected there was another reason. Victoria began spending more time around him and Lily. She attended Lily's school event. She helped with a science project. She even tried making pancakes. They were terrible. Lily ate them anyway. Daniel laughed. I didn't know billionaires could burn pancakes. Victoria crossed her arms. I run a billion-dollar company. Clearly, pancakes are more difficult. She laughed. Little by little, the Ice Queen disappeared. Daniel saw the real Victoria. A woman who had grown up believing that trusting people was dangerous. A woman who had spent years building walls around herself. One evening, Victoria finally told Daniel the truth. My father built the company. She looked down. When he died, everyone expected me to fail. Daniel asked, So you became ruthless?
Victoria nodded.
I thought if I was stronger than everyone else, nobody could hurt me. Daniel looked at her. Did it work? Victoria was silent. Financially, yes. And personally? She didn't answer. She didn't have to. Then everything changed. Daniel's company was suddenly hit with a massive lawsuit. A competitor accused them of violating a construction contract. Daniel could lose his job. He sat at his kitchen table surrounded by legal papers. Victoria walked in. What happened? Daniel told her. Victoria immediately offered to help. But Daniel refused. I don't want your money. It's not about money. It always is with people like you.
Victoria froze.
People like me. Daniel realized he'd gone too far. But Victoria quietly walked away. For 3 days, she didn't call. Then Daniel received a letter. The lawsuit had been dropped. He immediately called Victoria. You helped me. I hired a lawyer. Why? There was silence. Then Victoria finally said, Because I care about you. Daniel closed his eyes. He realized he cared about her too. Months passed. Their relationship became impossible to hide. Victoria, the billionaire who had once avoided emotional attachments, was now attending Lily's school events. Daniel, the ordinary engineer, had become the one person Victoria trusted completely. But there was still one problem. The world didn't believe their relationship was real. News articles called Daniel a gold digger. Social media mocked them. Some people claimed Victoria had lost her mind. Richard Hale even confronted her. You're throwing away everything you've built. Victoria looked at him. No. I'm talking about Daniel. I know. He's not from your world.
Victoria smiled.
That's exactly why I love him. Richard stared at her. You actually love him?
Victoria nodded.
Yes. 1 year after the charity gala, the housing project officially opened. Hundreds of families moved into affordable homes. There was a children's center, a playground, and a library. At the opening ceremony, Victoria stood beside Daniel and Lily. A reporter asked, Miss Sterling, what made you personally invest so much into this project? Victoria looked at Daniel. Then at Lily. She smiled. I finally learned that a successful life isn't about how much you own. The reporter asked, Then what is it about?
Victoria answered,
Who you come home to. Daniel smiled. Lily clapped. I told you they were going to get married. Everyone laughed. Daniel looked at Victoria. She smiled. That evening, Daniel took Victoria into their backyard. The garden was covered with tiny lights. Lily had decorated everything with paper stars. Daniel took Victoria's hand. When I met you, I thought you were the coldest woman I'd ever seen.
Victoria laughed.
I was. I thought you didn't need anyone. I didn't. Daniel took a small ring box from his pocket. Then what changed? Victoria's eyes filled with tears. You. Daniel opened the box. Victoria Sterling, will you marry me? Victoria didn't hesitate. Yes. Lily screamed from the porch. Yes. They all laughed. 2 years later, Victoria was still a billionaire. Daniel was still an engineer. Lily was still the boss of the house. But Victoria's life had completely changed. She still ran her company. She still traveled for business. She still negotiated billion-dollar deals. But now she always had somewhere to return to. One evening, Victoria walked through the front door after a long trip. Lily ran into her arms. You're home. Victoria hugged her. Daniel appeared from the kitchen. Tired? Very. Dinner.
Victoria smiled.
What are we having? Pancakes. Victoria stared at him. Please tell me you're joking. Lily shouted. I made them.
Victoria laughed.
She took off her coat. And as she looked around the messy kitchen, she realized something. For most of her life, she had believed being rich meant having everything. But now she understood. Money could buy houses, cars, private jets, entire companies. But it couldn't buy what she had found in that little kitchen. A family. A home. And 2 people who loved her without caring about her billions. The world had laughed when a ruthless billionaire was paired with a single dad as a joke. But the joke became a love story. The billionaire learned to trust. The single father learned to accept love. And Lily. She simply proved that sometimes the smallest person in the room can change 2 lives forever. Because in the end, Victoria Sterling didn't lose her empire. She gained something far more valuable. She gained a reason to come home.